It's time for Lefties Losing It, and former CNN hack Don Lemon continues to defend the indefensible. His role in storming a church during a Sunday service, terrifying parishioners, including little kids. It's all on tape, and Lemon was dumb enough to air it all. So despite his denials, we know he was aware of what these crazed activists had planned, and he was on board with every bit of that lunacy. And this sad clown is such an attention seeker that he is now trying to manufacture a ongoing feud with superstar Nicki Minaj after she called him out for his part in storming a church. He's hit back with this ugly diatribe.
Nicki Minaj, stop talking about for which you know nothing about. This is out of your depth, by the way. And you are a homophobic bigot. You don't care about African Americans, and you're not an African American. From what I know, you are reportedly an undocumented citizen, so you should be deported under Donald Trump's rules. Get a life. Stop being a pick-me. You should have put a pick-me doll on that damn tweet instead of a Chucky doll, because you are nothing but a pick-me. And I choose not to pick you. And so should black people, and so should gay people. Shouldn't buy your music.
So Don Lemon storms a church to stop illegal immigrants being deported. He's so passionate about that issue, but he now wants Nicki Minaj to be deported because she called him out. And he wasn't done with his degrading, misogynistic rant. He then went on to TMZ to continue the meltdown and call for Minaj to be cancelled. Nicki really got into his head.
I normally don't respond to things like this, but, F it. I'm going to do it this time. I think Nicki Minaj has made it very clear how she feels about African Americans in this country. For I don't think she's one of them, obviously. And she should, under Trump's rules, she should be deported. Why are you supporting her? Why are you buying her records? She's also supporting, I have lots of gay friends who love Nicki Minaj. Why are you supporting this homophobic, bigoted, ignorant woman? You should not be supporting her. Nicki Minaj, this is clearly out of her depth. She doesn't understand politics. She doesn't understand journalism. And I'm not surprised that she is weighing in on something that is beyond her capacity.
Yep, just a full-blown meltdown. But this is my favourite part. This is Don indulging in a bit of projection. Everything he says here is true about him, not Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj is a pick-me. She will do anything that is expedient for her politically. And again, she's ignorant. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's always weighing in on things that she doesn't know about. Nicki Minaj should just sit the down.
You'd think he'd be done now, but no, he's not even close. Don Lemon really scraped the bottom of the barrel by talking to the most demented, bile-filled woman in America, Jennifer Welch, who joined in the attack. And of course, as she always does, she played the race card. Now, Nicki Minaj is apparently a white supremacist.
This breed, this sect of Christianity, the white nationalist form of Christianity that I guess now Nicki Minaj attaches herself to. I'm like, good luck with that, sis. At the end of the day, you're still black. They weaponize it. And then, oh my God, I'm a victim. Don't attack my Christianity. And that's what Nicki Minaj just did right there. And I have news for Nicki Minaj. You think these white nationalists are going to accept you and your WAP? Just hide and wait. These people are serious about their racism, Miss Minaj.
You know what's racist, Jennifer? The bigotry that sees an affluent white woman telling a black woman what she can believe and who she can support. And as for WAP, W-A-P, that wasn't Nicki Minaj. That was Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, the two who were campaigning for Kamala Harris. But I guess all black women look the same to Jennifer Welch. Now, that's racist. Let's have a look at Jennifer Welch's target audience: angry, irrational, hate-filled white women who think they can get away with assaulting officers. Though this next story has a happy ending.
Bitch, are you ice garbage?
Mom, let's go. Mom.
Who are you? What's your name? Are you ice? Oh, you don't want me to take a picture of your face? Is that because you're ice?
And here is a dude who should also be in handcuffs. He thinks he's being clever here, but he's just inciting violence.
Please do not protest by taking wet newspaper and sticking it to their windshields in the cold weather. Also, do not protest by mixing rust and the powder from an Etch-a-Sketch and finding a magnesium sparkler and lighting it over an engine block. Please do not protest that way. Air let out of tires, terrible protest method. Water balloons filled with dog, terrible protest method.
Now let's have a dose of celebrity idiocy. Here is actor and Zoran Mamdani fanboy Mandy Patinkin explaining the little explored notion that Donald Trump is literally Hitler. He must be the first lefty losing it to come up with that genius analogy.
Breaks my heart that I'm listening to the things that certain members, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, are saying. This is hate speech. Hitler was called a fool. He was called a goof, a silly person, made fun of. And then he got to be Hitler. It's not a joke. These things happen, and there's great similarities. Instead of it being Jews, it's Muslims. Instead of it being blacks who were in slavery, it's Muslims.
Similarities between the language of Donald Trump and the language of Adolf Hitler.
Yes, sir. And it's undeniable.
Undeniable, he says. What a sad, sad fool he is. But the question has to be asked, just how violent are the modern left, the so-called resistance protesting against the Trump administration? Are they so filled with hate that they'd crowdfund shootings and bombings? Documentary filmmaker Ami Horowitz travelled to Minnesota to conduct a hidden camera experiment among anti-ICE protesters.
I want to raise money for weapons. I want to go after ICE. We need money for weapons, for bombs. We need to fight back against these animals.
I'm with you.
We need to tear them apart, literally, not figuratively.
Do you want me to get off live while you talk about this?
Yes. Guns, explosives. That's the kind of language they understand, and that's what we need to do. If you feel me.
Yeah, 100%. This is just not working.
You feel me?
I feel you.
And that takes weapons, and that takes explosives, and that takes blowing up. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay, it's a GoFundMe. That's what I was wondering.
It's a GoFundMe. We gotta fucking kill these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We need to go after these people.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to hurt them. We need to kill them. I think we have to start killing people, man, frankly.
Right.
I think that's the only way for us to get the message across because, let's be honest, saying F you, they don't give a
yeah, literally.
Exactly. They're just like, look at these guys wasting their time again. I know what you mean.
Okay. It's easy to get these lunatics to agree that violence and killing is the only way, but would any of them be willing to donate money to fund acts of violence, acts of murder? Let's see.
I mean, I'm kind of a broke college student, but I'll donate like 10, 20 bucks.
Not very much. I'm a student. Maybe like 50 bucks.
15 bucks?
Yeah. Maybe like $50 per
That's
yeah.
Bless you. Bless you.
Oh, we probably spent only like 20 bucks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being out here too.
Take care. I appreciate you. Peace and love.
Yeah, peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace and love, brother. Take care.
Love you, man.
Peace and love indeed. Let's bring in documentary filmmaker and commentator Ami Horowitz. Ami, your violent rhetoric and plot to commit violence against ICE agents, it seemed to be terribly popular. Did you have any pushback?
By the way, did you notice that one guy goes, "I love you, man"? He was so taken. He was so excited by it. His emotion just came out. By the way, I also want to point out that if you notice each one was like, "I'm a broke college student." One person was like, "My husband just got laid off, but I'll drop 50 on you, okay? A 50 burger." Yeah. Yeah, they were excited to do it. And to answer your question, did anybody say no? No, not a single person said no. I want to point something out also, is that I was only there for 30 minutes because my security team noticed that they had recognized me after 30 minutes and that things were about to go down. So I had to hightail out of there. So I raised nearly $200 in less than 30 minutes from these people. Peace and love, right? You feel me? You feel me? I mean, this was, look, when I do these experiments, when I'm sitting on my couch and I'm smoking a cigar and having some scotch, and I come up with this idea, I often go, nah, there's no way, right? There's no way that they will give me money to, and I was very clear about the use of proceeds, Rita. I wasn't hiding it. I was saying I want to buy guns and explosives because I want to kill ICE officers. There's no nuance to what I was saying. It was very, very, very clear. Yeah, this is the kind of people that we're dealing with. Violence is their currency. This is how, look, when I shoot in New York, frankly, I don't have a security team. But when I go to Minneapolis in particular, Seattle, Portland, those three cities in particular, if you don't have security, you're taking your life in your own hands. Just the day after I shot that, they grabbed the same place that I was shooting. They grabbed another conservative YouTuber. They dragged him, beat him, and stabbed him. There's no police presence. ICE are the only people out there, and they are actually quite calm. The only time they get involved is when they start approaching ICE officers and impeding them from coming out. This is what we're dealing with, okay? And, also, look, I want to be clear. They're also not, look, I'm in support of ICE, right? You know that, 100%. I think there's also kind of an optics problem that we have, okay? And I think it's something that we need to fix. Part of what I was doing here was to show that it's difficult for ICE to deal with these people because they are, in fact, violent. But I also think, on the other hand, there's a way to deal with this. The numbers are not good for President Trump. And I think it's because, not that I support everything ICE has done, but there's an optics issue. Even though he was leading this immigration issue, obviously by double-digit points, he's now underwater on the way they view ICE, whether or not their cities are more safer, and the immigration issue in general. So I think we have to find a way to deal with this in an optic level.
Well, yeah, the optics are a problem. But then again, when you've got segments of the media who are failing to report on serious aspects of this debate, then you're going to have that perception out there. But back to these protesters, as we saw, they're far from peaceful. Their appetite for violence, for essentially what is terrorism, is high. What can be done in the bigger picture beyond this particular debate and this protest? Because this seems to be a phenomenon with the modern left where they think the ends justify the means. And if it means you're going to have to kill somebody, then they can rationalise it in their minds.
Yeah, there's no limiting principle because the rhetoric that everyone, they're no question, they're taking their cues from the media, from the center left. I mean, when the center left is saying and the media is saying that we're in a fascist state where you have to show your papers like they did in Germany, okay? By the way, as a Jew, I can't think of a more offensive comparison than that. They're taking their cues from the media. And again, like I said, there's no limiting principle. So if you're dealing with Nazis, you're going to why not kill people who are Nazis, right? I mean, I think we would all support attacking Nazis. And that's the rhetoric that we're dealing with. And I think it's also important to point out is that these people also, they really care about what the tactics of ICE, or this is a larger issue. And my argument is that this is a larger issue. What they're looking for are open border. This is what the hard left wants, not the center left, but they want an open border policy. They want as many illegals to be in the country. They don't care about the issues of fraud and violence and crime. It's meaningless to them. But what matters to them is they want a permanent leftist majority that can defeat Republican values and Republicans at the electorate forever. That's their goal. If that means filling it with criminals across the border, they have no issue with that whatsoever. Zero.
Now, staying in Minnesota, President Trump has again targeted the state's Somali-born lawmaker, Ilhan Omar. He's called her crooked army, and there is now an investigation by congressional Republicans on the House Oversight Committee into how Ilhan Omar has amassed such significant wealth as a politician. In just 1 year, Omar's net worth jumped $30 million, according to Financial Disclosures Army. I mean, she's not alone. There is a lot of people who seem to be going into politics and coming out very rich when they started with nothing. And it just erodes trust in politicians, in democracy.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that she felt so comfortable putting it out there, right, and disclosing it, hiding in plain sight, because we do have a problem with congresspeople in general, and the rules that apply to us don't necessarily apply to them, and that needs to be fixed. But look, here is a lesson for all the kids, Rita. You ready? The sunglasses will always get you, okay? Do you remember there was, with the whole Somali daycare fraud, there was a dude who gets up there when his daycare center was accused of being part of stealing money, and he was talking about how his documents were stolen. Nothing else, but the documents were stolen. Of course, it's all coming out now that was kind of an inside job. He was wearing $2,500 sunglasses, okay? And Ilhan Omar, the socialist queen, she rolls with Prada and Jimmy Choo sunglasses, right? Thousands of dollars in sunglasses. Yeah, if I was worth $30 million, I might also drop $500 for a pair of shades. Look, this is a problem. Are we shocked? Look, I can see the argument how one could have a company that went from 0 to 30 million in net worth over here. It is possible. But where there's smoke, there's fire. And her husband, he's been embroiled in a bunch of shady stuff, right? They had this winery. By the way, no shade on winery. I love a bold Grenache, okay? But this company has had so many issues with investors, right? Where investors sued them for breach of contract. Another investor in the wine company and this other company they had, which sold the ganja, was being sued for fraud, okay? If you remember not too long ago, right before they got married, her campaign was paying him to be a consultant. That's an ethical no-no. And frankly, other things. And then conveniently,
there's a lot of things when there's a lot of things when it comes to Ilhan Omar. I mean, there is serious concerns that she married her own brother at one point, Army. So everything you describe now seems fairly minor in comparison.
Yeah, look, there's some gross stuff, Ilhan, no question about it. And I think an investigation is warranted. But you made the point, which I made at the beginning, is like, look, there needs to be. We talked about a bunch of congresspeople famously, including Nancy Pelosi, who have skyrocketed net worth when they actually don't have a job for decades other than being in Congress. So, yeah, I think we have to take a closer look at these rules and laws in general that allow somebody to be so brazen with that.
Now, one of the most underreported stories of the last month has been the massive drop in crime numbers in the US. The number of murders has dropped by almost 20%, the largest single-year drop. There was also drops, Army, in the number of assaults, rapes, robberies. This is good news, but it's good news that did not get a great deal of coverage.
No, it didn't, and obviously they didn't cover it. I mean, they certainly did cover it when it was under the Biden administration, but didn't cover it under the Trump administration. Now, look, to be honest, federal policy doesn't have a huge amount of reflection on local crime statistics. That's more about the local governance of those cities. Although there was a 28% drop in murder and robbery and rape in Washington, D.C., I think one can make the argument that bringing the troops there certainly had an effect on that. But there was also a 28% drop in other cities. New York had a 20% drop. Chicago almost 28%. And so, look, crime numbers are interesting, and it takes time to see where those numbers are coming from. Kind of, a 9, 10, 12-month statistic doesn't tell the entire story. We'll find out. But look, I'm open to the argument that when they see a president who's tough on crime, yeah, that might deter people from committing certain crimes. I could buy into that.
And if you deport a few criminals, that probably helps as well. Now, let's end on some happy news. Lotus is pregnant. Yes, the second lady of the United States, Usha Vance, is pregnant with her fourth child. Army, she is an impressive woman. She's a top litigator. She even clerked for Supreme Court Chief Justices, and soon she's going to be a very busy mother of four and possibly a future First Lady.
Yeah, SLOTUS. I don't like that term. That's a weird term. Don't use that again, please. Please,
I didn't come up with it. It's Second Lady of the United States.
No, I get the acronym. Fair, fine.
FLOTUS, FLOTUS flows a bit better.
Yes. Okay. She is she's an amazing person, really a very impressive person. But again, I have to hearken back to when President Trump and JD Vance were running, and MSNBC said, yeah, all JD Vance wants are more white kids. Yeah, he's producing a lot of brown kids, just a new one. So, just going back to that one lady who said it, there's another brown kid in the world created by JD Vance. So there you go.
Army Horowitz, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Always a pleasure.
Joining me now is writer and comedian Michael Loftus. Michael, the Beckham family feud is heating up. Brooklyn Beckham posted a lengthy statement to Instagram yesterday accusing his parents of controlling behaviour, all sorts of accusations, including, he said, "I do not want to reconcile with my family. I am not being controlled. I'm standing up for myself for the first time in my life." Now, David Beckham has remained quiet during this whole saga, but he has finally spoken out. Have a listen.
They make mistakes. Children are allowed to make mistakes. That's how they learn. So that's what I try to teach my kids. But, you have to sometimes let them make those mistakes as well.
Michael, this is just getting worse. This is making the whole Meghan Markle, Harry, Royals rift seem like child's play. I mean, we're talking about inappropriate dancing at weddings at the moment.
Yeah, and it is uncanny, the resemblance between myself and David Beckham. I want your viewers to know that this is not David Beckham. This is, compared to Meghan Markle, this is Hamlet. This is Shakespeare. This is oh my, these kids, I'm standing up for my own for the first time in my life. You're a poor little rich kid. Shut up. And I guess this whole thing happened when they were renewing their vows. Now, let everybody know, they got married in 22 and they're renewing their vows in 25. I don't want to say that's a sign that things aren't going too good, but the fuse has been lit. Let's watch the fireworks. It's all fantastic. It's great. She was dancing inappropriately. People laughed. I left the room. Oh, what will happen next? It's a soap opera. We got to turn this into a movie.
I don't know who's in the wrong here, but I do feel sorry for Victoria as the mother here. And I talked about the inappropriate dancing, which is the bit of the revelation that everyone seems to have been fascinated by. Let's talk about that.
That's what we all want to see.
Apparently,
that's what we all want to see.
Well,
we need that video.
We know there's
Someone
video.
has it on tape.
We need to see the video. Well, apparently during that 2022 wedding, Brooklyn and Nicola were supposed to have this beautiful dance, but it ended with the bride running out in tears because the groom's mum, Victoria, hijacked the dance and became inappropriate, even nuzzling into her son's neck on the dance floor. Michael, how do you see this saga going? Because so far it seems public opinion has very much been with the parents. Is that going to shift now that Brooklyn Beckham has been a bit more forthcoming about his grievances?
I think once people learn about the renewing of the vows 3 years later, that's a game changer. That's a game changer. That is the biggest red flag of these are wackadoodle people I've ever seen. And when you read what happened, I guess it was the MC said, "I'd now like to introduce the most beautiful woman in the room." And Victoria Beckham went running up and everybody laughed. Everybody thought that's a funny bit. I didn't know that Victoria Beckham was that funny.
On the face of it, I'm with the parents, but I'm wondering, are they just better at PR? Are they just better spin doctors? Is there something more to this? I guess we'll find out because all the dirty laundry is being aired. Now, let's move on to Kathleen Kennedy, the woman many blame for ruining Star Wars and other productions. She's finally stepped out as president of Disney's Lucasfilm. Under her leadership, viewers accused the franchise of becoming ultra woke, and even South Park was mocking her.
Put a chick in it, make her gay. Maybe we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, put a chick in it and make her name it gay. Sure, yeah. Well, let's try that. Again. Kathleen Kennedy is down on set right now ruining the new Bambi movie.
Any diverse woman in it, make it gay.
Bambi's a baby deer.
Baby deer, put a chick in it, make her gay.
We've sent her away to have lunch at Spago.
There you are, Miss Kennedy, the linguine and clam sauce.
Excuse me, I believe I asked you to put a chick in this and make her gay.
Michael, do we know who is taking over and whether we're going to get more hopelessly woke content that nobody really wants?
Here's who they're looking at to take over for Kathleen Kennedy, a guy by the name of Dave Filoni, who was responsible for a show called The Acolyte that ended with a planet of gay lesbian witches. So I think it's not looking too good for Star Wars fans right now. Kathleen Kennedy, though, she destroyed Indiana Jones and Star Wars. Her next job could be for the LA Fire Department, because that girl can put out a fire fast. If you can kill Star Wars, you can kill anything that's good.
Yeah, you think anything with Star Wars in the title, you're just going to amass, $1 billion in the opening weekend. So how you can wreck that is, well, that takes talent. Now, before you go, we've been talking about Nicki Minaj and her feud with Don Lemon. Nicki Minaj has been advocating for Christians from Nigeria to Minneapolis. She lashed out at Don Lemon for his part in an anti-ICE group storming a church, a Sunday service in Minneapolis. Now, in a post on X, she called him disgusting and said, "I want that thug in jail." Michael, I've got to say, plenty of people would agree.
Yeah, and I would be one of them. Nicki Minaj is on the side of right and truth and justice and defending the people who can't defend themselves. And Don Lemon is literally barging in and interrupting. It's horrible. And Don Lemon should probably not pick a fight with Nicki Minaj, because words are her life. She is a celebrated rapper. There's no way Don Lemon can win this fight. Don Lemon has a YouTube channel that's not doing so great. So listen, when life gives you Don Lemons, make sure they're not really grapefruit.
I tell you, I cannot wait for her next album, because I think there's going to be some Don references in there and they will be brutal. Michael Loftus, thank you so much for your time.